Welcome you all in the 8th lecture of Embedded System. So in the last lecture we have seen a couple of examples for the VHDL programming, and we have taken an example of a blink LED. We have seen that in FPGA when we dump a program we have to explicit connect those output and input interfaces, right? Also we have seen that three types of architecture in VHDL. One is behavioral, another was data flow, and last one was structural. And we have seen that this is most behavioral style of architecture is most widely used because we have to define only the behavior of the system. We no need to know the basic gates or structure of the system, right? Which is quite difficult to know initially, that how many gates are there, what will be the connections. So it is difficult to define a complex system at the circuit level. So behavioral style is most widely used because we have to just define the behavior of the system. So we no need to know the actual hardware, right? In the data flow, it is nothing but output is defined in terms of input. So using this architecture we can only implement combinational circuits. We cannot implement a memory or sequential circuits. So structural architecture is the gate level architecture. So we have to define all the gate schematics, which is quite difficult in defining. So this is very less used architecture in the VHDL programming. So in the today's lecture we will start another kind of microcontroller that is called as Arduino UNO, right? So we'll talk about only Arduino UNO specifically. There are other kinds of Arduinos also, so such as Duo. So there are some basic differences in the memory size and some other blocks in the other Arduino. Otherwise the overall structure is same. So when you see the diagram of Arduino UNO, it looks like this, right? So this is your microcontroller, which is of from company Atmel, right? So this is a microprocessor from Atmel, and there are some analog pins, there are some digital pins, right? So we can see these are analog pins, and we have a jack. Okay, we have a jack also. Yeah, we have a USB port to connect. We have reset button which will reset the program, right? We have some digital pins. So these are digital pins. Some are explicitly for interrupts, right? So we have transmitter and receiver to connect from the Bluetooth or other devices for the communication. And this is crystal oscillator, which is of 16 megahertz, right? And there are some other small blocks in the Arduino UNO, right? So and this is governed by two voltages. When it is 5 volt, it gives 5 volt, and it is running from 3.3 volt, right? So if you see the internal architecture of Atmel, so which looks like this. So in internal architecture we have SRAM memory, we have electrical erasable programmable ROM, we have flash memory, and there are some other building blocks which are same as microcontrollers, general microcontrollers, such as instruction register, program counters, instruction decoder, and there are arithmetic and logic units, etc., right? And you can connect input output modules and interrupt unit. There is a timer also, comparator also. This is serial serial interface, right? So we have, these are some of the explicit blocks which are already there in the microcontroller itself, right? So these memory, different kinds of memory, we will read in detail in the coming lectures, right? So what is actually Arduino UNO? So we can develop any system. We can develop any system using simple Arduino UNO. So how can I implement any system on a Arduino UNO? So for developing any system, we have to write a program, right? Some set of codes. So how will I write a code? So there is something called, we have to write high level coding. It is a kind of C language coding only, that is written in Arduino IDE. So there is a software provided by Arduino where you can write the program and compile it. So the program is nothing but a set of code, right? So that is called as sketch. Okay, we call sketch in the Arduino. So whatever the program you want to develop or you want to design, you just write the set of codes, then you compile it in the Arduino IDE, then you can transmit that code to the ROM of the microcontroller, and then you can run it, right? So this is how you can design any system using an Arduino UNO. So when you talk about Atmel microcontroller, so Arduino uses Atmel microcontroller, and there are some other kinds of microcontroller you have studied. So 8051 is a also commonly used microcontroller, and we will study ARM microcontroller, okay, advanced RISC machine. So what is the difference between these microcontroller? The only difference is in the instruction set architecture of the microcontroller, right? So depending on the high end or low end application, there is a difference in the ISA, right? So we can choose any microcontroller depending on the application. So there is another microcontroller, PIC microcontroller, right? So there are so many microcontrollers which you can decide based on the application, right? So this ISA is different for these different microcontrollers, and different kinds of ISA provides different kinds of efficiency. So any microcontroller can provide low efficiency code efficiency, or it can provide high code efficiency. So what is the meaning of code efficiency here? So for example, let's say the ARM ISA includes some of the instructions which are single instructions, which are executed in single instruction cycle. So we can get a high code efficiency there. So we'll also see the instruction set architecture of ARM when we will study ARM. So there we will see that ISA of ARM provides high code efficiency. Similarly, there are different ISA for instruction set architecture for Atmel and 8051, right? So we have already studied this block diagram of Atmel. So I will write explicitly. So this Atmel has 32 kilobytes of flash memory. Okay, it has only 2 kilobytes of RAM. Okay, which is quite less. This is used to store data. Okay, so there are other versions of Arduino, such as Arduino Duo, which has high RAM actually. It has 1 kilobyte of EEPROM, and clock is already 16 megahertz, right? So let's design a simple program in a Arduino. So how can I design a simple program in the Arduino? So now let's say I want to design an automated system for switching on and off lights of any room, right? So I want to design a system which will switch on or off the light of any room based on the person availability. So if any human being is present or any person is present, any living being is present in the room, the lights will be on, otherwise lights will be off. So how can I design this system? So let's say that this is a floor of the room, right? So if there is any, if there is any person which is coming in the room, so let's say any person is coming, so there will be some pressure, right? So from the pressure, so if I use a pressure sensor, so it will detect the pressure, right? So once the pressure is detected, what it will do, it will send some signal to the microcontroller, right? It will send some signal to the microcontroller where we can write a program to switch on and off the light based on the pressure detection, right? So we can put a threshold that if the pressure is greater than some threshold, then it has to start the light or it has to off the light. So light can be on or could be off. Now how will I implement it actually in the microcontroller or using Arduino? So let's say this is the Arduino UNO and this is your microcontroller sitting inside the Arduino, right? So we have some digital pin and we have some analog pin. So we can use any pins depending on the applications. Okay, so suppose there is a digital input we have to take. Suppose we have to detect only temperature, okay, of a room. So this can be done using a digital input pins, right? If their output is in the analog form, we have to use the analog form. So what we have to do, we have to actually define the pin, which pin we want to use, and the pin which we want to use is for input mode or it could be in output mode. So how can I define it? So to define that, we have to write a function which is pin mode in the Arduino IDE, so which is defined as pin mode. So here it will come pin number and mode. Okay, so mode could be in mode or it could be out mode, right? So once you have defined the pin, okay, so suppose I want to define this particular pin for getting some input, right, or getting some output. So what I have to write the pin number here, and depending on the, suppose I want to connect a sensor here, any sensor. Okay, so this sensor I want to take input. Suppose this is a pressure sensor, so I want to take some input from the pressure sensor, so I will connect this in input mode, and this I will connect to, let's suppose, some lighting system, right? So there is some system which will govern the switching of the lights, right? So this is the output. So this pin I want to activate as in the output mode, so I can write it as pin number and output mode. Now how will I write it actually or read it? So for getting input, I have to use digital read, right? Digital read. So how will I read it from that particular pin number? So you have to give the pin number, and if I write it down in the output, then I have to use digital write. So if I am writing outside, so apart from the pin number, we have to give the value also. So value could be either high or low. Okay, so this is how we define the pin configuration, or we first set up the Arduino, right, for particular program. So if you talk about the sketch of this Arduino where we write a program, so this has two parts. One is void setup, so where we define the setup, like how many pins we want to use, and those pins I want to use in mode or out mode, okay, and other interfacing devices which we want to connect. So I have to first set up. So setup will be here, and another part of the sketch will be there which is defined in void loop. Okay, so So the programming in Arduino IDE is similar like C, right? So let's suppose I want to design a system of a blink LED, right? So suppose I want to design a system which will blink LED every alternate second. So for 1 second it will glow and another second it will be off, right? So this is the system we want to design. So let's say this is the Arduino, and we have to connect from some pin, we have to connect the LED, right? So we have to connect some LED, right? So this LED should glow for 1 second and it should be off for another 1 second. So this is a very simple program we have to develop. So how can I do that? So in setup, we have to first set up the Arduino. So how can I set up? So suppose I want to connect this thing at pin number 13. So first I have to define the pin mode. So pin mode, the pin number will be 13. Then this is the output mode, right? Because we want to govern the LED. So this is output mode. So I have to write output, right? Then setup is complete, right? There is no other thing which you want to define. Suppose you want to define any other pins, you can define it here. So in this system we don't have to define. Now we have to write the program. So what is the program we want to make? So this LED should glow for 1 second, and for another 1 second it should be off. So first I have to glow. So how will I do it? I have to write something. So digital write, I am using digital pin, so I am using digital write here. Which pin number? 13. And when you are using write, we have to give some value also. So it should be high. So I have to give a delay, because another 1 second it should be on. So delay of 1000. So this here 1000 is in millisecond, right? So for commenting we have to use a double slash. This will wait for 1 second, right? Then after 1 second it has to switch off the LED. So how will I do that? Again digital write, pin number same 13, and it should be low. Then again you have to give a delay of 1000 millisecond, and this program will run continuously, right? So this is a very simple program which you can compile, and then finally you can dump on the ROM of the microcontroller, right? So your LED will be switching on and off every alternate second. So this is how you can write a program in the Arduino IDE, right? So now this is about the digital inputs and outputs. Now if I want to, let's say if I want to use this LED in the analog form, so here we are giving in the input form. So either output is either 0 or 1, right? So it is the brightness is either full or it is 0, right? It is off. Suppose I want to brightness, so I need some analog output rather than a digital output. So how will I do that? Okay, so how will I do that actually? So we have the analog signal. Let's say we have the analog signal. So before understanding that, we will see that what is analog signal. So how will I sample it? You have to sample it, right? Suppose I want to govern that LED into 3 brightness level. So I have to sample it with a particular sampling rate, right? So let's say that we are sampling it with a particular rate. Okay, let's say I am sampling it with a particular rate. Okay, so this is how we can sample it, right? So depending on the sampling rate, our word length will be decided. Okay, if the sampling rate is high, our word length will also be high. So that will also decide the resolution of the system. Okay, so what is the resolution? So if you talk about Arduino, so Arduino has 10 bits. 10 bits means we can define 1, 0, 2, 4, levels, right? So we can define here 1 0 2 4 levels, right? So what is the resolution? If I define the resolution, resolution means it is the quantity, smallest measurable quantity. So it is the smallest measurable voltage change. Okay, so that will define the resolution of the system. So the maximum voltage of Arduino is nothing but 5 volt, and we can have one maximum of 1024 levels. So the resolution will be 4.8 millivolts. So this is the resolution of Arduino. So this is the smallest measurable voltage change which it can detect, right? If the smallest change is below this, then we cannot detect that particular change, right? So how can I do that actually in Arduino, right? So generally what is happening, suppose we have to get the analog, we have the analog input. So what we have to do, before processing in Arduino, we have to digitize it, right? Or when we are giving output, we have to convert from digital to analog, right? So suppose we want to blink LED into 3 brightness level, so we need a digital to analog converter. But there is one facility in the Arduino, okay, that is called as pulse width modulation. Okay, so what is this actually? Pulse width modulation. So pulse width modulation actually provides a way to control the analog variable. So control the analog variable. So suppose I want to give some analog output, okay, so I have to use a separate circuit. So that is an overhead to me. So we need to use a D2A, and we have to use a timer to count also. But using PWM, we can do it directly. So Arduino provides this facility of using PWM. So what is actually PWM? So it is a simple method. It is a simple method of using a rectangular digital waveform to control the analog variable, right? So let's say that we have the digital waveform. Okay, we have the digital waveform, right? So it could be, let's say, from 5 volt to minus 5 volt, right? It could be from minus 5 to plus 5 volt, right? Or let's take first from 0 volt to 5 volt, right? So initially, when we don't use a PWM, we will simply take the digital output. Then LED will be governing either in full brightness or no brightness, right? So let's suppose I want to vary it. Okay, so let's say I will keep the voltage level here. So what will be the average time? This LED will be governing at, what is the average voltage level? That is 2.5 volt, right? So how will I decide this one? So to decide this, we use the PWM, that is pulse width modulation. So what we will do? We will modulate the width of the digital pulse. Now how will I modulate the digital pulse? So to modulate it, let's define something called duty cycle. Duty cycle, that is nothing but on time upon the total time. So what is on time? In which it is on. So this is a on time, this is your off time, and this is your total time. So in this case the duty cycle is 50%. If you see the duty cycle, it is 50%, right? So this on off behavior changes the, so this on off behavior changes the average power of the signal, right? So we can change the average power which is going out from this on off behavior, right? So this is done in a specific period, right? So and it is used in a variety of application, right? So we need this PWM, we need in variety of application, from communication to automated control, right? And it was also used in encoding information, so we can even encode the information also, encode the information for data transmission. So how will I determine like what is the average value? So in this case it is 50% because T1 by T off is just 50, right? So in general case, if I write it down, what is the average value? How will I define average value? So that is nothing but 1 by T, the time period of the pulse. We have to integrate it from 0 to T, and then ft dt, any function which is given to you, which is nothing but it is T on time, the highest voltage, plus 1 minus T on times lowest voltage, right? So it is governing between let's call it as VH, and this is your VL. So it could be 0 or 5, or it could be minus 5 or plus 5. So we can determine the average voltage. So this is nothing but your V average, right? So right, so in this case we can define it. So if your VL is 0, so in this case your VL is 0, right? So this part will be 0. So the V average is nothing but T on times the highest voltage, right? So if your T on is 50%, as in this case, what is the VH? VH is nothing but 5 volt. So the average power is 2.5 volt. So similarly, if you change this T on time, basically the output voltage will change, right? So now how can I do it in a circuit, in a hardware? So this could be done using a simple RC circuit. Okay, so let's say this is your digital input. Okay, this is your so if you don't use PWM, so PWM is a very good concept. So if you don't use PWM, what we have to do? We have to convert it explicitly, right? So if I don't use PWM, I need a separate circuit to find out the average value, and that could be done using a RC circuit, right? So R and C. So this is your digital input, and whatever the output will be there, that will be your analog output, and that will depend on time constant, that is RC, right? Is it clear? So if you don't use PWM, you have to use this circuit explicitly. Okay, that will create an overhead. Now how can I do it using PWM? Okay, so let's take 2-3 examples. So this is one kind of a digital waveform. Okay, this is another kind of digital waveform. If I write it down, so in this case, if I write it like this, and another waveform, if I write it like this, sorry, so this should be like this. Okay, so I have given you 3 waveforms. So in this case, if you see that this is your this is your t on time, this is your t of time, this is your t on time, and this is your t of time. Okay, and in this case this is your t on time, this is your t of time. So in this case, if you see, the t on time and t of time is equal, right? In this case also the time is equal, but our time period is more, right? So in this case the time period is more, but in this case your t and time is much less than t off. So what will happen here? So your average power will be much low, right? So let's say this is your 50% duty cycle, so the average value will be half. So in this case, let's say that your t on time is 1/4 of your t of time, so your duty cycle will be 25%. So in this case your average power will also be 1/4, right? Is this clear to you? So so depending on the output power required, we can change the width of the digital pulse, right? That could be done explicitly in the programming itself. Okay, we don't need to use a separate circuit. Now how will I do in programming? And depending, suppose I want a half, I want to govern that LED with half brightness, then I can use this kind of waveform. Otherwise, if I want to govern with a very low brightness, so I can use this waveform. So either this, or in between any value I can feed it to that LED. Now how will I do in program, Arduino program? So for defining, there are some, so for doing this pulse width modulation in Arduino, there are some explicit pins available in the Arduino which can be used as in the PWM mode. The pins are pin number 3, pin number 5, pin number 6, pin number 9, and pin number 10, and pin number 11. So these are the pins which are explicitly available in the Arduino for a PWM. So I can show you also in block diagram. If you see that where is that? Here it should be there. Yeah, you can see here. So if you see here, it's written that digital PWM. So pin number 3, if you see, pin number 3 can be used as PWM pin, right? So depending on the Arduino, we can find out how many number of pins are given for PWM modes. So how will I what will be the command to write or to use in PWM mode? So we are using analog output, so we have to write analog, right? Because we are using as output. If you want to sense any analog input, so we have to write analog read, right? Otherwise we have to write analog write. And then we need a pin, and we want to use pin, that is PWM pin, right? And there is something called value. So what will be the value? Value could be from 0 to 255, and this is the full brightness. 0 means off and 255 is full brightness. So let's say if I want to govern that LED with 50% of brightness, I have to write it down. So if I want to use 9 number pin, so pin number 9 and 128 means 50% of brightness. If I want to use pin number 11, then I have to write pin number 11 64, so that will use that will give the LED with 25% of brightness. So this is how you can use PWM pin in the Arduino, right? Now next we will study a serial communication in the Arduino. What is actually serial communication? So we are writing some program. So this is, let's suppose your my Arduino board, okay, and this is your, let's say this is your PC, right? So you are writing a piece of code here, and you want to dump that code onto the Arduino. Alright, so we need some connections. Okay, so we have some USB port to connect from computer, right? So how will I dump that code from Arduino, or basically this Arduino IDE, to the Arduino. Okay, so this is your USB cable. So to do this communication, there are two protocols. One is serial communication and another is USB communication. So both are done using USB cable only, but we have to explicitly convert to a serial communication. So first we will see what is serial communication. So let's say that we have run the program, we have compiled it, and there will be program will be converted into some bits, right? So let's say it is 100101001. So I have to send this bits to basically this is this is coming here. Okay, so I want to communicate these bits from computer to Arduino, or it is bidirectional, right? So some things, suppose you want to do some actuation or you want to display some result, then Arduino has to send these bits to the computer. So this is bidirectional communication. So let's say that we want to send these bits to computer, or from computer to Arduino, or Arduino to computer, right? So how will I do that? Okay, so how will I do that? So before doing that, the Arduino or the PC should know that the data is coming, right? So all the time data is not coming. So what we have to do? We have to send some packets, right? So before sending some packets, we need to send some preamble. Okay, that is nothing but an identifier. So the computer or Arduino should know the data. This is the data start bit, right? So we have to send a preamble along with the packet of data. Now how will I send it? So in computer and Arduino, this could be done in voltage, right? So 1 means the maximum voltage, that is 5 volt. 0 means it is 0 volt. So let's say if I want to communicate the ASCII character B, so what is the ASCII character B? So let's suppose it is given as 0 1 0 0 0 1 0. So suppose I want to transmit this ASCII character B through serial communication. So this is the code of the bit code of ASCII code B. So it is nothing but it is low, high, low, 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 high, and low. So what is the meaning of this thing? So this is your low, this is maximum voltage, then it will remain low, it will be high, and it will be low. So this is how this signal will go, right? No, but we don't know how many low are there by seeing the signal and how many ones are there, right? If the continuous ones are there, the signal will be 1. So we need some, one thing is clock cycle, right? So how many bits it can send per second, right? So with that we can know that how many bits are there. So we can basically sample it. So this is 1 bit, this is 2 bit, this is 3rd bit, this is 4th bit, like that, right? Now we should know that from where the data is starting. Data could be, first data bit could be 1 or it could be 0. Now we should know that what could be the first data bit. Okay, so in a general case, when there is no data which is transmitted on the USB line, so let's say this is your transmitter and receiver, and this is connected via a TTL line. Okay, this is transistor logic line, and when nothing is floating, the TTL will be always high. Okay, so when nothing is floating, no data is floating, the TTL bit will be always 1. Now when the data communication is starting, the TTL bit will be low. First it has to low, then only the data transmission could be started, right? So this could be done explicitly, otherwise the Arduino or PC will not know when the data is coming. So with TTL we can know that when the data is coming, right? Now how will I do this in Arduino? So for doing that, I write a digital write 1. So the data is starting and there will be some delay, right? Then again you have to write digital write and then 1 and so on. So this is how you can write in Arduino. Now how will I do that? Actually, if you see in waveforms, so yeah, one more thing I forgot here in PWM. If you remember, this in PWM basically we do it always. You know, this thing is done always in PWM or in a digital, basically digital write. We do this thing in always in NRZ coding, non return to zero coding. We don't use +5 and 0, rather we use +5 and -5 for better error corrections, right? So because NRZ provides you better error correction, right? Now how will I do that in here? So first what will happen? Suppose I want to send the data, the TTL is high when the no data is coming. Now when the serial communication is started, first it will be low, right? So this is when it is low, we call it as start bit, right? Suppose I want to send the 8 bits. So first will be the start bits and then let's say the continuous 1 is coming, then again 0 and then again it has to TTL logic has to be 1. Okay, so this bit is last bit is called as stop bit, right? So data is starting from here to here. Is this clear to you? So the data is coming here. So let's suppose if you want to transmit the 8-bit data, the data will come here, and before the data and after the data there will be start bit and stop bit to make the TTL logic high or low, right? Now how can I do that actually in serial communication? Okay, so how can I do that in serial communication? So to do that in Arduino, there is a command, there is a keyword serial dot begin. Okay, so if you write this thing, that means your serial communication is starting. So what should be the rate? At what rate, how many bits per second we want to transmit? We have to define here. So this is called as baud rate. Baud rate means how many bits I can send in 1 second, so that I can change also. So in this case 9600 bits per second we are sending. Okay, there are some other commands for serial communication, and another is serial dot print ln. Suppose I want to print the value, so then I have to use this command, and if I want to take the input, then I have to use serial read, and say with same baud rate you can define the baud rate also. Then serial write for the output serial communication. Similarly we can use serial dot available. So this command is used to check the port is available or not. Okay, so the port is available, the serial communication port is available or not. And there is a last one which is not very common, that is serial dot parse int. So this is used when there are a lot of switches. So let's say this is one switch, this is second switch, and there are so many switches, okay, which is connected. So let's say some keypad is connected to the Arduino and one of the switch is pressed, so each switch will give different value. So in that case we can use this command serial dot parse int, right? So if you see this communication protocol, what will be the serial communication protocol? So what will be the serial communication protocol in this case? So let's say we are transmitting with the data with the 9600 bits per second, right? So this is your baud rate. So what is the time per bit? So that is nothing but 1 upon 9600. So what is the meaning of this? So let's say this is the serial stream which we are sending. Okay, so this is the serial stream which we are sending. So what is the meaning of this thing? This meaning is from this bit to another bit, there is a time difference of 1 by 9600, right? So every 1 by 9600 another bits will be coming. Is that clear to all of you? Now from USB you can do either using serial communication, and there is something called another thing is USB protocol. Okay, so serial communication protocol is bit easy because simply it is using the baud rate and you can get the data directly. Okay, so we are using NRJ coding. We are using NRZ coding, non return to zero coding. Okay, and we just transmit either +5 volt and either -5 volt. So it is comparatively easy. Now it could be done using USB protocol also. So what is the USB protocol? So in the USB protocol, the voltage signal that was +5 and -5 in the case of communication protocol. So here what we do, the voltage signal is sent in differential mode. So what is how do I send the voltage signal here? So let's say this is your in phase signal, voltage signal, and there will be opposite phase signal also we will transmit like a twisted wire. So this is your in phase signal, and let's call this as opposite signal. So we send this signal. So what is the advantage we are getting? Let's suppose in the channel you are getting some noise, and due to noise this is the data you receive in the same phase, and this is the data you receive in the opposite phase. So the data is little bit distorted, but as the signal is passing through the same channel, the noise will get cancelled because they are transmitted in differential pair, right? So now how will I send the data? So what I will do, I will just sample it. So let's say that I am sampling one here, one here, one here. So let's call this as kth bit, this is jth bit, this is lth bit. So what I will do, I will send these bits in a packet. Okay, I will send these bits in a packet, and it will depend on the packet size. Is that clear to all of you? Right. So what is the resolution here we will get? So there the resolution was time per bit is nothing but 1 by 9600, right? So here what is the resolution? So the resolution will be delta of t will be nothing but 1 upon 12 megahertz. So let's suppose the frequency of the signal is 12 megahertz. So that could be given as 83 millisecond. So what is the meaning of this thing? The meaning is that every 83 millisecond some data bit is coming. Now we are sending a packet. So this is your packet which you want to send. So what we need, as I told, we should know that when is the communication starting. So we need a start bit and stop bit. So we have to write in a preamble. So this is your start of packet, and this is your stop packet, and this is your packet, and there should be some ID for the packet, and this is your LSB bit, and this is your most significant bit, right? So this is how we communicate using USB protocol, right? So USB protocol is, sorry, this should be here, this should be here. Okay, so USB protocol basically transmit the data signal in in a differential mode. However, in communication mode, we transmit the data directly in phase. Okay, in phase, and that could be done in two modes. Either you have 5 volt or 0 volt, or you could transmit plus 5 volt and minus 5 volt, right? So the data is transmitted in phase level, but here we transmit in out of phase level. But here it is difficult because we are sending the packets and we need a preamble of the packet, right? We need the preamble of packets. Okay, so is this clear to you? Now how will I do that actually? So we need to synchronize it, right? So one packet is coming, then another packet is coming, right? So we should synchronize, otherwise what will happen? Otherwise, if it is not synchronized, I will not able to detect the start and stop bit, right? So there are some clocks, so clock should be synchronized, right? So this communication could be categorized into synchronous type or asynchronous type, right? So and the synchronous type is nothing but with respect to clock. So we are following a clock. When the clock is starting, so after how many ticks, okay, there is a start bit will come, and after that many ticks stop bit will come. But in asynchronous mode, it is not with respect to clock. Okay, so how could I do this in asynchronous communication? So we can use an interrupt, right? So interrupt means we have some process to interrupt the program execution, and that could be done either using hardware interrupt or could be done using software interrupt. So you know already that two types of interrupt. We have vectored interrupt and non-vectored interrupt. So what is a vector interrupt? So let's say that you have microcontroller, there are so many devices. Okay, so this is the connections. So we don't know that which devices cause interrupt, right? So this is a interrupt is coming, but we don't know that which devices cause interrupt. So what we do here, we keep a index. Okay, so based on the index of the device, there are some numbers which are given or the addresses which are given, right? So addresses are already defined. So if you know that the interrupt address is already given for particular device, so those kind of interrupts are called as vectored interrupt, right? So if the vectored interrupt is there, I know the address of the interrupt, so from which devices cause the interrupt, right? Otherwise there are some hardware interrupt also, right? So in this way the communication is done, right? So for interrupt also there is a dedicated pin, right? So in Arduino UNO there are some dedicated pins for interrupt. So pin number 2 and pin number 3 can be used as an interrupt pin, right? Now how will I use interrupt in Arduino? So I write the function as attach interrupt, then interrupt name will come, which interrupt, then function, what is the function of the interrupt, okay, then mode. So it could be rising or falling, okay, what kind of interrupt it is. So let's suppose if I want to use a interrupt, so what is the functionality, what is the name of the interrupt? So there are two kinds of interrupt in the Arduino. One is 0 and so one is 0 interrupt, or it could be first interrupt. So let's suppose I am using the 0th interrupt, so I write 0. The function of the interrupt is do encode. This is the function of the interrupt, and it is of falling type. Falling means whenever the falling edge will come, it will cause an interrupt, right? So this is how you can use an interrupt, right? So let's take a very small example for an interrupt. So let's say that I will cause an interrupt. So whenever the interrupt is coming, the LED will blink, right? There is a change in the LED state, right? So we have to define two things. One is LED and one other is state. So both are of type integer, right? So let's say the value of LED is 77 and state is low. So Arduino Sketch has two parts. One is setup. So first I have to define void setup. So what thing I have to set up? We have to set up first pins. So pin mode, LED will be of output type. Then attach interrupt. Okay, we have to attach interrupt also, like which pin we want to use as an interrupt pin, because we have 2 or 3 number pin. So I want to use first interrupt, and that is of blink function. The function of the interrupt is blink and change. So change means whenever there is a change in the level, then it will cause an blink. Now we have to define the main code that will be coming in void loop, and that is nothing but digital write. So what we have to do, we have to just check the state of the LED. Okay, so digital write LED state. Okay, just change the state of the LED. So initially we have defined the state as low. So what it is telling, whenever the interrupt is coming, just change the state of the LED. So what is the function? Function is blink. Okay, so it has to blink, right? So how will I do this thing in I have to define this function also, right? So this is the main program you have defined. Now I have to define the blink function, right? So what is the blink function? So what is the function of blink? So whenever blink has occurred, the change will change the state of the LED to the not state. So if it is 0, it will become high, otherwise it will become low. So void blink, the state will be nothing but not of state and closed, right? Bracket close. So what will happen in this case, that whenever this interrupt is coming, it will change the state of the LED. Okay, very small function. Is this clear to you? Okay. So these are some of the functions which we have discussed in the today's lecture. So we